Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me to present Meta and our view about the picture of the future, as Jeff explained. It's quite interesting for me, the both presentation, one from Julie in terms the importance of manufacturing, and I think in the 10 points that you raised are important. All of the 10 influence manufacturing in terms of energy cost, water cost, and. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and Jeff, and for all of you, the good news is we have companies in Australia that are ready for 4.0. And because of the Formula One, I think it's very interesting that we have a company in Queensland, PWR, that delivers since years the radiators of all the Formula One cars, including Red Bull and NASCAR. So you see, and that's what will be my message, how are we going to move forward with advanced manufacturing? Jeff referred a little bit to Germany, and maybe we do it a little bit too much, and you hear from my accent that I'm not a born Australian, beside the fact that I have an Australian passport, but I want to give you some German language teaching today, because it's very important. And by the way, I got this when I was, I think, 30 years old in Germany. What you see is in a lot of areas when we're facing challenges, you have people that we call in Germany Feststeller. These are people that are describing the fact. And after they're describing the fact, they put it into a study. And then they study it again, and they study it again. The problem is with all of these Feststeller, nothing has happened. So what we need is Absteller. That are the ones that are out of the first time when you describe a problem, you really fix it. So I think you all agree, and when it comes to future manufacturing, we need less Feststeller, we need Feststeller, but less, and we need much more Absteller. And what I'm going to show you is that we have in Australia a lot of Absteller. What is Meta? Well, Meta is a collaborative network of high potential manufacturing businesses and researchers aiming to advance manufacturing. That's what we're going to do. So we represent the manufacturing industry of Australia, and very important, to do that exercise, go into software 4.0, you need the leadership, you need the entrepreneurship, and you need continuous learning on your way to get there. And Meta members will accelerate growth, and they will increase efficiency and effectiveness, and will make Australia a manufacturing country globally recognized. Well, how are we going to do that? First of all, Julie, we tried to get a definition about advanced manufacturing. And here's our definition, that advanced manufacturing is the provision of technology, processes, and skills along the whole value chain. And that includes the suppliers, and it includes the customers. So it's really end-to-end. And unfortunately, today, from our education system, our measuring systems, our outputs, how we measure, it's always in silos. It's never going to be end-to-end. But our problems that we have in the world can only be fixed by looking into end-to-end. And of course, you need, again, you need the leadership. I will come to this again. So it's not only good to be fantastic in research, you have to be good in each and every of the elements. And when I reflect what I've heard in the last 12 months, I would say most of our companies have problems in the sales, in the marketing, how to access other markets, and how to identify my real core capabilities. And it has nothing to do already, they don't take on innovation, and they're not accessible for research. What is happened on the world stage, and again, I can only agree with what Jeff was explaining. The challenge of manufacturing is not an Australian problem. It is truly a global game. There is no niche market anymore where you can hide and hope that no one else will discover it, though it is a global market. And another point is there is no level playing field. So we have in Australia, and we have to look, and we use Michael Porter and say, what are the advantages and disadvantages of Australia to play in that global game? And I'm very pleased to be in Victoria, because I can only congratulate the Minister of Industry. Victoria really tries very, very hard to help manufacturing. And what we have to do as well is we have to go and try to help them to get this level playing field in terms of red tapes and everything else. And another one is that it's not the single company anymore in the future that's going to be successful. It's the networks, the collaboration networks that really compete. And the most famous one, of course, we all know, is Silicon Valley. And hundreds have tried to copy, but most of them have failed. But it's quite interesting, again, when I go through Victoria, when I talk, even today, this event, and I talk to people, the connection that they have from previous job then went to another one, and in the end, we have the ingredients of these networks to really collaborate. Future of manufacturing, and again, I didn't exchange my slides with Jeff. Mass customization, there's absolutely no question about it, and I'm going to show you some examples. Sustainability and speed. These are the three outcomes of advanced manufacturing. And again, when we see that again in the whole supply chain, from including the suppliers, not squeezing them to death, but involving into our innovation and having the customers as well, then mass customization, sustainability, and speed are the global trends. Now, company here, Australian Turntable, they develop turntables for large restaurants, like this one in the Middle East. But their core competence is not doing this for restaurants. They do turntables, so they do it for the mining industry as well. So in terms of understanding your core competency does not mean you belong to one industry. Your core competency can open completely other industries for your organization. Sustainability, I know most of you people would say when you hear sustainability, oh, this is this greeny stuff and okay, you have to feel good. Sustainability from our point of view, from our members' point of view, is making money, is delivering value to your customers. And I always see when I go shopping, you buy these eggs, yeah? The caged eggs, $2.50 I think it's a dozen. Huh? Or you buy these ones, it's $5. So the market acknowledge, and the market pays more than double if the value is there. And last but not least, speed. And there could not be a better audience than Victoria in talking about textile industry. And you know, the textile industry, we say it's dying. Sure, it's dying. As more we talk about it, as more they become and get back to life. Usually in a textile industry, you have a 12-month cycle. You have a biannual planning. It's a winter and the summer season. And we are working in this. So what you do is you do mass production in India or in China, make 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 shirts. When they come out, you pay $20. 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, there's now a sale. It's 60% off. Right? So other companies building retail shops, and they're reducing it from 12 months to 2 weeks. There is no obsolete stock anymore. Can you imagine what it means for your cash flow? This is completely end-to-end, and not I'm playing the same game, but I do it a little bit cheaper than my competitors. And that's what we call advanced manufacturing. Jeff was referring to it again, and I have to apologize that I always have to go back to the German examples, because I thought it's so impressive when I saw the study done over 20 years on 2,700 companies in the Mittelstand, for small and medium enterprises. The interpretation is a little bit different from an Australian point of view. But what for me is absolutely was incredibly important is, what do these 2,700 companies have in common? The first thing is extremely ambitious targets. And I know we have a lot of universities here today, and we always want to do, we have to do more innovation. We have to do more innovation. Let me share my personal view on innovation. You cannot preach innovation. You cannot get innovation by only handing out money. What you need is, you need ambitious targets. Because only when you have ambitious targets, we are using that what is or called our brain. And that's what all of these companies doing. They're setting themselves very ambitious targets. On the other hand, they're very focused. And they're not going to outsource anything. They do a value add of at least 50%. Most of them aiming for 100%. Because they see their IP much more in the whole value chain rather than in one product, and then maybe negotiating with universities for the next 2 years on their IP rights. Globalization, okay, you're not surprised. But what I thought was interesting, that all of these companies, when they talk about globalization, they never give up their contact to their customers in any country they're working to. So it's not, I give it to some distributor and good luck. They really want to be in contact. The globalization going to another market is not only I ship it and then let's see what happens. It's really to have that interaction. Innovation is always a little bit of shortcoming, saying always I look into my R&D spending. These guys spending much less R&D, like for example a company like Siemens. But in terms of outcome and their efficiency, in terms of developing new products, they are double as good as the average in Germany, the Mittelstand. The closeness to customers, here again, I was really fascinated. The organization, more than 20% of the employees having contacts with their clients, by design. And I've seen, unfortunately, some companies where the only contact to customers is maybe the CEO or the owner, and the rest is our back office. So they really put the organization upside down, that we want you to have contacts with our customers. Loyal and highly qualified staff, we talked about this. Retention rate is half of what the average is in Germany. And that, by the way, is much, much lower than we have in Australia. So again, if you have highly motivated staff, if they excited to come to work, if you give them the opportunity to use their brain, to go forwards in advanced manufacturing, they will stay in your company. And last but not least, strong and consistent leadership. And what I like most is most of these organizations and the leaders are in this job for more than 10 years. So it's not like after 3.5 years, I got bored, I have to go and do something else. And more important, in their business approach, they use what we all should do more often, use common sense. That's what they do. Now, with this in mind, it's quite interesting when you then look into Australia, we have companies that are doing exactly all of this. And Julie, you're absolutely right. I wish that our press really would take on the positive side of what happened in manufacturing in Australia. It is so important that we are not talking an industry down ourselves. There is no reason to do so. And we see Meta, we really want to promote, we want to give the hidden champions of Australia, we want to give them a brand recognition, not only in Australia, but elsewhere in the world. And I only give you, because of the time, I want to show you some of the headlines here, mostly in smaller publications, but nevertheless, we could do this endlessly. Every day, new companies coming, they're expanding, they're moving into other businesses. There is an unbelievable amount of dynamic in this industry. And you can imagine how they feel when you work in such an organization, and then you open your newspaper and you see manufacturing is dying. It's not dying. And when you look and talk to the owners, here again, for me, fascinating, having the study about 2,700 companies in Mittelstand, there is absolutely no difference between a very good German leader and a very good Australian leader. There is no difference. They're as good or sometimes better than the Germans. And that's what we want to achieve. Because let's face it, if it's a global game, we have to win some of the games. We are not there only to participate. And quotes about supply chain and the importance of supply chain. And here another one, the quote in terms of manufacturing is an art. That's why you see in the Meta tagline, the art of manufacturing. To get these creative ideas and move that into a real tangible product, including the services, and see it, how it satisfies your customers, is an art. And it has nothing to do anymore with the perception that, unfortunately, a lot of people still have about manufacturing. So what are we going to do in Meta? Look, with all of the power we have, what we can change is we can change the leader and the owner of this organization, of any organization. So therefore, what we are saying is we're really looking out for winning leader mindsets. These are companies and leaders that really challenge the status quo, that believe in the future and believe in the future of manufacturing in Australia. And they believe in collaboration. But in the end, our organization is really focused on the ones that can make a decision to manufacture in Australia, across the industry. Because as you saw of the attributes, it's almost unique. It doesn't matter in which industry you are. And I think we have a huge opportunity here where Meta members that are in one industry meeting people in other industries and learn from each other and not necessarily feeling their competitors. And the target as a backbone of every economy will be the small and medium enterprises. And we really reach out to the multinationals to help, not only to help in the local business, but help local small and medium enterprises to get into their global supply chain. So we clustered our members in 3 categories because I think it's very important, particularly what we heard from Jeff and from Julie, is not every company sits already in the top box. And when we talk about this, we have these very best companies that are already very good today. They are absolutely competitive. And that's not only the big ones that you have in mind. These are smaller companies with 20, 30 employees. PRWR, by the way, the radiator company in Queensland, I think they have 35 employees. So they're very, very good. They are the best. But believe me, when you talk to them, they have hundreds of other ideas how they got better. So we have to give them a forum. Then we have companies that are very good, and they want to be the best. So they are advanced. They fight sometimes imports. And then we have companies that are challenged, but still with the right leadership mindset. And these challenged companies really want to get out of this mess. So you have to take a different approach to help them and to support them. And what we believe is, because of university involvement, that the universities and CSRO, doing it already today, it's nothing new, getting more involved with the ones that are already very, very good, where the ones that are challenged maybe have to optimize their supply chain on a lower end a little bit more, and therefore will not be too much interaction with universities yet, but maybe with service providers. And last but not least, the portfolio is really for us, we are open for every manufacturer in this country. But in the end, we want to, and we're looking for companies that really aim for best practice if they're challenged, for advanced thinking if they're sitting in the middle block, and for future-oriented manufacturing when they are the best. So what is the task now? Is really to continue to build this solid executive membership base of manufacturers and researchers. And we're creating hubs and projects where the company is saying, these are projects that we want to do in a collaborative way. And last but not least, we want to identify and address red tape, over-regulation, and cost disadvantages, and we want to deliver it to state government, we want to deliver it to the federal government, and we want to deliver it to the communities. Because if it takes you 12 months to get an approval for an internal renovation of your factory, you can imagine how mad you are about our environment. And we saw the list on Julie's slide. So where we are today, we have a database, and I have to say I was a little bit surprised that I'm not criticizing anyone, but in terms of what we know about manufacturers in Australia, it's not like it's all there. So we're building slowly a database, and here again, thank you very much to the Victorian department, because they have really helped us here to further develop it. And what we want, and what I want to show you the practicality of it. I had yesterday a visit from an American company that want to manufacture in Australia, and they're looking for suppliers. But I have to know what are the capabilities of our suppliers to direct them to the right companies. So we don't have that kind of database. We might know the address of the company, we might know how many employees they have, but we don't really know what the capabilities are. And by the way, the same thing, we don't know the real capabilities in industry terms of research institutions and universities. We don't. And to bring this together is an unbelievable powerhouse. We have done 450 interviews with these companies, and that means interviews, we went to the companies, we saw the companies, we went to the workshops, we talked to the employees. So our META is not a top-down, it's a bottom-up approach. And out of this discussion, we have identified 30 projects, collaboration projects, where they say, I'm interested in collaborating with other industries, and that's what we're going to do. And we have identified 20 projects. New things, what people want to try out, but they're not doing it on their own anymore, they're doing it combined. And you will understand that I can't show you the content of the collaboration hub and the projects because our members really want to keep that for themselves and don't want to feed that information across the country. Last, the engagement model, and this is again a very important message that I want to send to all of you. We have in Australia all the ingredients, but we have tons of activities. And the number of manufacturers are not increasing, they're decreasing. So the point is, when you start to build collaborative networks, you're starting with existing communities. And as you can see here, our existing communities are the ones that are working already in Geelong, in Dandenong, and in End. These are existing networks over years. And we want to access to them. We want not put something in parallel. And then, of course, the next level is that we have activities from universities and sometimes from companies on a technology level. That might be new materials, that might be production lines, that might be something else. This is the next level where people can join, organizations, manufacturers can join and say, yes, I want to make my products lighter. I want to reduce the number of parts in my product. To which university should I go, or in which hub should I go? And the next one is the application layer. For example, you're sitting and you're being in an electronic business, and you might see all of a sudden you can use that electronic in an application called sports. You never thought about it, but it's possible. Or you use the same application for health. So the point is, it has much more dimension than our typical industry sector thinking, oh, this is mining, and this is oil and gas, and this is healthcare. But nevertheless, we consider them as well because we have companies in Australia that are running oil and gas businesses. And what we want to do is connect our manufacturing companies with these oil and gas and the other industries and see what are your challenges. And where can local manufacturing play a part? And in the end, it's all networked. And that's what I'm asking each and every one. We are not there and want to play an isolated game. We want to connect. Because if connectivity and collaboration is the issue of tomorrow, then I think we have to preach it over and over again. These are the companies that are already members, and I'm very pleased to say that all of the universities in Australia are members of META. Thank you very much.